Mamas and cars now, whichever get up. Light up my card with a sweet one blaze. Someone flicks me a bike by the end. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strong, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
Hello, I'm Eric. This is CJ.
Hello, guys.
We're back for another episode 6 of Crossroads Boxing. We'll be back after the 40% off D-Rock clothing. Yeah, CJ, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, my mate. How are you?
Yeah, excited for this episode. Your favourite topic, British heavyweights. So,
don't mind talking.
This one after what Chisora did on the weekend, obviously that performance, I didn't personally rate Wallin. I think last week I said I didn't really rate Wallin. I thought Chisora could stop him. Just because Wallin, the way he fights, for me, when he's in defensive mode, he's straight up, and those looping shots from Chisora, I predicted Chisora would stop him with one of those shots, and unfortunately, he couldn't quite get it done. But the game plan was the game plan, and we saw what we saw. What did you make of it?
I don't know what Wallin's game plan was, to be fair. I think he was just timid the entire fight. Exciting to watch in sense of Chisora, but Chisora's fought like that for his last... Well, he's always fought very aggressive and pressure on, but certainly his last few performances where he really has just stuck on that pressure, and you know it's right, relentless, a lot more careful.
He boxed well as well. When he was tired, he actually boxed quite smart. He knew Wallin wasn't going to go gun-ho, so he wasn't quite on the defensive, just using that shoulder, trying to bait Wallin and taking a bit of a break as well.
His body work as well, Chisora, were brilliant. You know, as he's winding over the top and then he comes back downstairs. It's lovely to see. I tell you what, I bet Wallin was so sore on midriff next day.
Yeah, Wallin for me, he didn't really... I never really rated him anyway. I think, obviously, he lived off of the performance he had against Fury. And then since then, I've not really seen much of him. As in, I've not seen him perform like that. Not that I've not seen much of him. I've not seen him perform like that. Since
you nailed it there, though, mate. He's ridden that performance with Fury to the death, hasn't he? Really, it was unknown coming into that, and then and then obviously the cuts and everything. But yeah, he rid that to death, and he's still getting a career. Fair play to him.
I thought he looked in the AJ fight. He looked like he didn't want to be in there. In the Chisora fight, I thought you would at least get a bit of his corner was saying to him, like, you need to go for it. And he still went out there and didn't really want to swing with Eric.
Did nothing. Well, I think he knew he was going to get knocked out. That's the thing. I never watched, I think I saw the highlights. I never watched it live. He got like that shock split decision win against Gassiev, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that was,
I got asked about that, which I think which win was better, the Gassiev win or the Brazil win. And I was just like, probably Gassiev, because barring, I think, injuries or whatever, he didn't really become the heavyweight he should have been. He was at cruiserweight. He should have been such a much better heavyweight than what he ended up. But Brazil, the same thing after the AJ fight. He just looked nothing, to be quite honest with you. Like the performances after that, hasn't been great. But Wallin himself, I've never really rated him. I thought Chisora would knock him out. I thought it was the perfect opponent for him if it was going to be his last fight, which we now know isn't going to be happening.
Absolutely not. Let you call out Usyk, Dubois, and AJ at the end of that fight.
That's what I was going to ask you. What do you make? Those three names, what he put up there, not one of them I was expecting to be up there. I don't think. I did not expect any. Dubois maybe.
I had money on Wilder.
Yeah, I thought it would be Wilder, White, and Dubois.
I'd love the White fight. I'd love White 3, and I think the style now that he's nailing on Chisora, and like you said, he's actually coming back to a bit of boxing in between. I think he'd absolutely total White this time around.
Even the second fight, though, is it the second fight? Chisora was winning. He was winning the fight, and the only reason for me he lost that fight was because of the referee. The referee took a point off him. Chisora then had to change his game plan because he felt he was behind, and that's when he walked into the shot. Barring that happening, Chisora actually boxed really well that fight. He was quite disciplined. When he was on the attack, he didn't let Dillian Whyte breathe, but when he was defending, he was pretty good. He boxed pretty well that fight. I
don't think Bill's got the legs anymore. I think that last performance against was it Tete in Gibraltar? Like,
oh God. I generally don't. This is the thing. I'm a bit worried about talking about Chisora White because I don't know what he's going to bring against Joe Joyce. Yeah, to us, Joe Joyce looks. he doesn't look like Joe Joyce anymore. Put it that way.
No, like
White, I think the one thing with Joe Joyce is, can he still take a shot? Because if he can, he will overwhelm Dillian Whyte because Dillian Whyte's legs have gone. If Joe Joyce can do what he was doing earlier on his career, where he was taking shots, but his output was a lot. He had a lot of output. He was throwing so many punches earlier on in his career. Because I remember just watching. Who was it against? Some Polish guy, and is it Rakhimov? Oh, not Rakhimov. I can't remember who it was, but it was like watching Rock'em Sock'em Robots. They were both stood in the middle of the ring, just throwing hands, and I was like, "What am I watching?" Seriously. So
I'm looking through now. So I mean, like at the start of his career, how exciting it was. I thought he had quite a lot of stick, Joyce, starting off. I mean, he's one of our or is he the most decorated British amateur we've had at heavyweight?
I don't know whether it was so much stick. I think it's how he came out because he was. I think he came out. I think his first couple of fights wasn't bad fights, and then he was calling out like Luis Ortiz, and so on and so forth. And he ended up, I think, signing with Frank and not fighting any of those names. And then
he's not got names on here. Just looking down, like obviously the big win over Dubois, which stands for something now. Yeah. Carlos Takam knocked him out. Christian Hammer, Joseph Parker. Like he's got good credentials on it. I think it was too late.
The thing is with Joyce it was always the thing of he's got a chin and who can knock him out. If you can't knock him out, you're not winning. That was the sort of thing they were going with, was if you can't knock him out, you're not winning, and he'll probably overwhelm you because of the amount of punches he throws. So when you see him get knocked out by Zhang twice, it's sort of like, oh, has that chin gone? And then you get dropped by Derek Chisora. I'm not saying Derek punches soft or anything like that, but then you get dropped by an old Chisora who this was supposed to be your fight to rebuild yourself, sort of thing. And you get dropped and get beat by Chisora. We don't know where you are. You can't go off how Joe looks or speaks because Joe's never spoke like confidently.
No. Yeah, that's right. But then again, this is like the whole excitement of heavyweight boxing, isn't it? That he could have fought a heavyweight journeyman or an old 40-odd-year-old American heavyweight. They can pack a punch, can't they? That's the point of the big boys.
Yeah.
You never saw no dear, but Zhang didn't surprise me. I thought Zhang was quite hard done to when he boxed Parker. I mean, he dropped Parker like 3 times, didn't he?
Yeah. I remember watching that. I was out. Well, I was in Newcastle watching that. And I was like, this fight, like I think Zhang dropped him like in the 2nd round or something like that. I was like, this should be over soon. But Parker did well. Fair play to him. The problem with Zhang is his tank. If you can take Zhang late, you're more than likely gonna be able to either drop him or win a decision by just overwhelming him, because his output just becomes null and voided after 6 or 7 rounds, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's a big unit, isn't he, Zhang?
He is. He's always had problems with that, though. I think like the Jerry Forrest fight earlier on in his career, he had a draw with Jerry Forrest because I think he was winning, then he gassed out, ended up getting dropped. I think he ended up getting rushed to hospital straight after that, being diagnosed with something anyway. So he's always had issues with his gas tank, Zhang. So going late with a guy like Parker, I can understand why Parker can win that. I could see it. Just because of how Parker fights, he's quite clean when he fights. When the fight's going his way, he's quite clean, Parker.
I think Parker has really come into his own at this stage of his career. I think his move with Andy Lee has done him absolute wonders. When he boxed Joyce, I think they were still in that transition phase of it, really.
I never agreed. As soon as I saw his weight for that fight, I was like, why is he trying to stand and trade with Joyce? Because you only put that much weight on if that's what you're going to do. And he did exactly that. And Joyce just beat him up. I think Parker knows his strengths.
I think he, like I say, was still getting to know each other, him and Andy, and then you could tell when he started to feel the power or his game plan wasn't working, he just retorted to what he knew. Yeah. And then he got stuck in the middle of it. So it wasn't his best performance,
No.
but not to get away from Joe Joyce. And then that's when we was all on the Joe Joyce train then, isn't it? Of like, where's he going to stop? He's going to reach the top.
That's the thing. You look at Parker from there, where Parker's gone after that Joyce lost. He's got what, 4 wins on the bounce or whatever inside a year, 13 moves, something like that. And Joyce has gone from beating Parker to losing twice to Zhang, getting a late stoppage against Cash Ali in a horrible fight. and then getting beat by Derek Chisora. So you look at those 4 opponents side by side. Yeah, Parker boxed up with Dempsey McKean. I can't remember who else it was, but then he had Wilder and Zhang. Yeah. Joyce fought Zhang twice, got beat twice, got stopped twice. Did Joyce get dropped by Cash Ali or something? Did he get dropped? I don't know. I can't remember. The fight was such a horrible fight.
Right, but both of them going in. Obviously, Joyce has got losses going in, but White's opponent list, it's nothing sparkling, is it? Going back to Jermaine Franklin.
And that was one of them where a lot of people thought Jermaine Franklin might have won that fight.
Yeah. To then Christian Hammer and then Tete, and I said it last week. I said it again earlier. That Tete in that fight, it was like just ridiculous.
His legs look. You know what? He reminded me of who is it? Who did Daniel Dubois fight? Was it Trevor Bryant? Daniel Dubois fought for the WBA regular in America.
Maybe,
in that gym.
Maybe.
He looks at his legs looked like that. He just like his legs was completely like after 2 rounds, it was like he was struggling to stand up. I don't know whether just he just wanted to get out there and he wasn't fully fit or ready. I don't know what it was, but that performance put him below Derek Chisora. You know what I mean? Everyone was like, go on.
I don't think he'd be able to sustain that pressure. I don't think he'd be able to hold off Chisora, especially if he came out of blocks fast. I think he'd be in massive danger in the first 4 rounds. I think he would be.
What worries me, that's what worries me with the Joyce fight, though, for him. That's what worries me with the Joyce fight, is whether he'll be able to, because whether Joyce has a chin or not, Joyce still throws quite a lot of punches. Or he did do before he got knocked out by Zhang, because after the Zhang fight, I will be honest, he struggled to throw his hands. He sort of, his hands are at home quite a lot in his last few fights. Even you look at the Derek Chisora fight, Derek was baiting him in, and he wasn't throwing. He was just like that in between all the time.
Yeah,
letting Derek off the ropes.
It's gone gun shy after his performances. That happens quite a lot as well. Certainly in every way. I think AJ went through a phase of that after Ruiz.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Not scared. I don't like using that word of like scared, but to commit.
It is. It's commitment. It's committing to the shot. It's believing. It's believing in. I think being more worried about getting hit than actually landing your shot. And I think that they don't want they're so concentrated on not making a defensive mistake that your offense sort of goes out. Big up right in the chat. Your defense sort of is more, you're more focused defensively, and you forget, oh, you know what, I can throw that shot, but you're that scared to throw that shot that, oh, if I throw that, I'll throw this instead. And yes, fighters can get in that, especially being brutally knocked out. You're getting dropped by Derek Chisora as well, where your career was built on you having this granite chin. Yeah. So for me, it's a hard road to come back. Just how do you market him now?
I don't know the answer to it. I don't know. I really don't know.
I just don't. I don't know. I feel like they've put him in there with Dillian White. I think for both of them, it's sink or swim. Whoever loses this fight probably is done. It's
definitely need to win, and we're going to forget about the other guy. Joyce, I don't know, but at the same time, both fighters are high risk, low reward, aren't they? So they're probably in the same boat, and that's probably why this is being made.
Beating each other really doesn't do anything for them. I know in the British scene, probably they're still up there in the highest ones in the British scene, but really, where is the money coming from fighting? Because those guys, like your AJs and that, they're out of this conversation now for you, because you're all perfect segue to the Queensberry card with Lawrence Coley versus Richard Riakporhe, and that I think that's the same card as White and Joyce. I think, is it?
Yeah, heavy impact. It's the first DAZN one, isn't it?
You've got, who do you fight? Your best bet is hoping that that Coley wins, and you can get a money fight with him if you beat Joe Joyce. That's your best bet is to fight Coley. Outside of
it, really high risk and low reward for anybody going near him. Dillian White and Joyce on the day, both big punchers, massive punches. I think White's not so much at the minute. I would hazard a risk that Joyce still bangs massively. Yeah. Not that White doesn't, but I would back Joyce to go out and floor a lot of heavyweights still. I think Dillian doesn't have that same bite that he used to have. Definitely. I think he really is coming to the back end of his career, just for miles on the clock, for all them, how many, was it the longest reigning at number 2? taking the paydays off.
Number one. I think he was like number one, but it wasn't the mandatory or whatever. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I think his best days were stood waiting in the wings. Do you know what I mean? Taking that pay.
That's the problem. A lot of things went a bit south for Dillian, because I think for British boxing itself really as well, because you get that fight, obviously Miller pulls out, pops or whatever. And Dillian White could have had that fight. That fight was there. The Ruiz fight, AJ taking that Ruiz fight just changed the whole landscape. I know obviously he went back and got it back, but it still changed the landscape of how the heavyweight was going.
Yeah, massively.
I think Dillian White, since turning that fight down, the Tyson Fury fight maybe is his biggest fight, but how much did he get paid for the Fury fight?
He was due to box AJ in 23 when Ian popped.
Yeah, I you know what? I completely forgot about that as well.
I did. It's only doing my homework tonight, to be honest. I was like, no way, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the AJ fight, what he turned down in 2019, and yeah, he had another opportunity, and then again, look who he's gone on to fight since popping against AJ. Jermaine Franklin. Was it Jermaine? He'd already fought Jermaine Franklin, I think, actually.
I'm not sure on that. AJ boxed him after, didn't he?
Yeah, and then I think it was supposed to be White.
Right.
Because Wallin stepped in. I think it was supposed to be White. And then, no, Hellenius. It was supposed to be White, and then Hellenius stepped in.
I remember Chisora boxing Hellenius like a long time ago. That was the first time.
Yeah.
The Nord. I used to love that name. So going back, if I ask you then, because we spiraled off from Chisora, who, if it only came down to them three, who would you rather it be then? Usyk, Dubois, or AJ? If he was going to get a Usyk, or if he was going to get a Dubois fight, should I say?
I think I want Derek to fight Dubois, because for me, you get the Usyk fight, but I just don't think it. I don't think the world will want it. Will be like about it. They'll be like, oh, he's already beat him once. Yeah, he did well against him, but come on, it's Derek Chisora years later, 6 years later. Like, Usyk has gone on to be undisputed and beat every heavyweight since he fought Chisora. Like, better heavyweights than Chisora. What is the point in it? It's so not. Does the
AJ fight more excite you?
No, I don't want to see AJ and Chisora fight. I think those two are genuinely friends anyway, in that sense. Right. So AJ's always had that respect for Chisora, and Chisora even said it years ago. Like, I'm not fighting. I couldn't fight AJ. Why would you fight? I think the Dubois fight would be a massive fight. It's a chance for Derek to win a world title. That's what that guy is missing in his career. Your final fight, it's a chance to win you, and he's got every chance of doing it against a Daniel Dubois. If you could overwhelm him. You can do it. Like, if you can overwhelm him, you can do it. And I think that's his best shot, because I think he fights Usyk. Usyk probably stops him late, because as soon as Usyk starts turning it up after 6 and 7 rounds, that's it. I don't think Derek will be able to keep up. I don't see the point, and I don't want to see Derek go out like that. And also the AJ fight's the exact same. People can write AJ off and say that he's done or whatever, but Derek Chisora isn't competition for AJ. I don't care.
But then on the other side of Dubois,
no, I agree with that, but I also think Dubois is also green enough that I think and it brings a belt. This is all about Derek getting a belt. Fighting AJ doesn't get you a belt. Like, you're fighting AJ. The upside is the money. I get that, but
we got Ralph.
You fighting AJ, you're gonna lose. You're gonna just say AJ was on your resume. That's it. For Dubois, yeah, but you would have gone out losing in a world title fight if you do lose to Dubois. You had a chance to fulfill that dream, because I don't care what he says. Derek's about money now, but he wanted to win a belt in his career. He wanted to win a world title.
I don't think there can be a heavyweight, not even heavyweight, a boxer alive that doesn't go in there with the dreams of a title, do they?
Exactly.
But yeah, 100%. It's all about the money for him now.
It is.
I think
also with the situation with Turkey and stuff like that, if that's the fight, people are going for, and best believe Britain will be behind Derek Chisora in that fight. That will be massive.
Yeah.
In Britain. That in London, that would both fighters from London. It will be big. I know Daniel Dubois has got a massive fan base to say, but he's got the wins there to rack up fan bases. You know what I mean? For people to want to watch him fight, whether they want to see him lose or win, they'll want to see it.
Just interrupting on that last comment, then that just went off saying that Billy Nelson's been shouting for the AJ fight for Martin Bakole. What do you think for that? I think Bacole's a handful, mate. I think he's a monster.
I do want that. To be quite honest with you, I want that fight, but I also want AJ to fight Dubois. That's the fight I want AJ. I need AJ to fight Dubois. There's no really after the Dubois fight, Bakole and whatnot. But I also think Bakole needs to be careful, and Billy Nelson needs to be careful, because they still have FA Jagba in front of them. And I've not heard him mention FA's name once. Yeah, I know you're saying this is the problem, though. I don't think much of FA Jagba, but that's the problem. We're allowed to think nothing of him.
Yeah. As if he was stood in front of me, I would have a big. I would be of him.
But we're allowed to be like that with FA. But all I'm saying is, if you're looking at one person and you haven't got your eye on this guy, something could happen, because Bakole, you can be beat. You've been beaten before by a smaller guy. You can be. That
was a terrible fight as well. Was that when he claimed his shoulder was coming?
Yeah, he claimed. Yeah.
I remember Billy Nelson shouting at him like, Martin, like switch on. We're going to lose this fight. But since then, I will say he has come on to like really impress me. He did a job on Yoka.
Yoka, yeah. This is the the performances have been good, but Tony Yoka, yet again, I don't rate. And Tony Yoka in the pros, it was pointless him turning pro, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah,
he might as well.
Like when you see your podcast doing them little statements, dare I say Yoka's probably the most overrated turned over heavyweight.
Yeah. He won gold as well, didn't they? They robbed Joyce.
Yeah.
He got gold as well. Whoa. Who's worse? Him got gold medalist or Audley Harrison?
Fraudley Harrison by far. It's not at this age.
At least Audley got in there with David A.
They got him with David A, and it was like rabbit in headlights, man, when he was coming on to him. But seriously, the noise. Sorry, go on.
One of the first fights I saw of Wilder was against Audley Harrison.
Terrible.
Oh,
honestly,
God,
terrible.
I just remember Audley Harrison cowering the corner, Wilder just swinging these weird, wild punches over Audley's head. I was like, oh my God, what is going on?
And I'll tell you another thing with Yoka that always upset me was that I don't think he ever got. Did he never get reprimanded for? He fought Dave Allen, didn't he? And I remember Dave Allen saying like, he really hurt me. And he did pop afterwards, did he not?
Yeah, he popped afterwards. I don't know if he served a ban or what. I'm not even sure, to be quite honest with you.
You see, in that way, not that it matters. Every weight, if you popped, I do think it needs to get a lot stricter, but that's probably for another show.
Yeah.
In the big boys, and you're popping, I mean, you could kill a man with one punch. These boys are 18 stone, upwards.
This is I think the main problem with boxing is fans when it comes to doping, because there's too many fans giving just because they like a fighter or they feel a certain way about the fighter's opponent who they were supposed to fight. they give him a pass for part going, oh, well, it was only this much, or it was this. And it's like, no, it is not allowed in your system. What are you arguing semantics and saying, oh, well, actually, you're allowed 0 point blah, blah. And it's like, come on. You're not allowed this stuff in your system. Dillian White, how he's still boxing, still, I don't understand. You can't pop the 2-3 times and still boxing. Gerald Miller is the same thing. He didn't only pop 3 times in the AJ fight. He popped after that as well when he signed to Top Rank. Like, these guys, fair enough. I know people make mistakes, but
Charles, that last comment then, Yoka versus Joyce is probably the perfect time for them two. From right, I would probably agree with that, really. And Joyce would probably win that fight.
Yeah, you know what? After the Dillian fight, but then again, what's Tony Yoka doing now? Is he still fighting? I don't even know. He's busking
to Paris, I think. All 6'8" of him at the side of the street begging fight. No, I don't know. I do think he came back to have a few wins. He boxed last year. Yeah, so Bakole, Takam, and Mary Buss all beating him. Sorry, all 3 beating him to come back. Bachetta and then Griggs, two stoppages. But at what level? I mean, them guys. I don't personally know them guys, but there's no record there showing of any talent, if you know what I'm saying. So,
oh well,
take that fight. I mean, I think Yoka would take that fight in a heartbeat. But
well, Raj just said that Yoka's coached by Don Charles now.
Right. Okay.
So maybe that fight is on the cards because, I think having a British-based trainer in Don Charles, your name certainly will be circulating again if no matter what opponents. Because let's be honest, when you're a gold medalist, you're a gold medalist. People know you, so you can ride off of that, just that, whether you win or lose. You know what I mean? For so long. So with Joe Joyce where he's at, I think that's a great shout by Ra. Yoka after the Dillian White fight, obviously.
Shall we move on to either Akoli and Riakpo, or
we'll do Akoli Riakpo, yeah. What do you make of that fight? Because that fight is maybe 3-4 years in the making. Like 3 years.
I'm really excited about that. And first, by the way, that card, that Heavy Impact, which is Queensbury's first his own show. I mean, Uncle Frank is bringing it home, isn't he?
What? Honestly, I'm loving boxing now because I used to dread Queensbury cards. I used to be like,
I did.
I used to be like, what have they got on now? Boxing's on. Who's on this week? Oh, Queensbury's got a card. Let me see. But now, fair play to Frank. You know what? He's stepped his game up. Frank has been chilling with the cool kids with Eddie, and you know what I mean. He's learned a few tricks, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna start. But now, fair play to Queensbury and Frank Warren, because that card, heavyweights, names on both sides. Obviously, you go down the levels. You go down the levels, obviously, on the card, but good matchups.
I think. Akoli has more to lose, definitely. I believe it's like it's the first step up for Riakpo, I think, isn't it? That Akoli's. I think Akoli only boxed at Mohammed. If I'm right with that, I might be wrong with that.
Yeah, he had a bridgeweight. He fought a bridgeweight, and then
we said this on the other show. Do you remember? We said it with Rico before we started. So he beat that Rozansky in Poland, first round, boom, for the bridger. And then he KO'd that Mohammed in the first round as well. So again, Akoli completely untested at heavyweight. I think we always knew he was going to go up because his frame was like ridiculous, and he has filled out massively. Riakpo, is he anywhere near the level of Akoli? As in, I think Akoli's boxed some brilliant people.
No, I think a cruiserweight, I think probably was Riakpo's best chance of getting Akoli, just because Akoli draining himself to get down to that weight. Obviously, we know now he was draining himself. Look at the size of the guy. Draining himself down to that weight. Could he hold those shots from Reactor? Because Reactor was a big puncher at that weight. Obviously, draining yourself, your chin's going to become weaker. Can you hold those shots as well? I think Reactor's best chance was at cruiserweight. I don't believe he has a chance in this fight. I think it'll be a good fight until Lawrence lands.
I think, you've probably nailed it with that, until Lawrence lands. I would like to see Okolie get tested at heavyweight, just by, like you say, Reactor, or even maybe someone more. I'm trying to think of someone top of my head. I wanted to say like Chisora then, you know what I mean? So they get like a natural true heavyweight, you won't know how Okolie will do either. I think Okolie,
Frank Sanchez. That's not bad.
Sanchez, yeah, that's not a bad shout at all. FA Jagba, you love bringing him into this.
FA Jagba,
yeah. I am excited for it though. I think it'll put bums on seats. I think there'll be a lot of needles starting in the build-up and things like that.
Yeah, it's already started. It's already started. I think Lawrence got asked about what started the whole cinema squabble thing. Yeah. And he said, all I said to him was Madonna's old.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, mate. Picture with him.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, you know the build up for that. The build up for that will be good. The both of them are characters. I think Reactor is more of a serious character than Lawrence is. Lawrence, when he flicks that switch, he flicks it, but Lawrence also has that light-hearted sort of joking side to him as well. So he could wind Reactor up in the build up for this.
Yeah. I think it'd end up more Reactor losing his cool. Again, I'm just looking down at what wrote there. The level of Reactor, Jack Massey, Juma, Turkey obviously did beat Bellum Smith first time round earlier on.
Yeah, but also I remember when I watched that fight and I was watching it live, I thought Bellum Smith. He's a male model. A male model has a decent amount of money. He shouldn't be seeing a 70-year-old one.
Listen, right?
Don't.
Yeah, that's it. Live and let live, mate. You never know. Yeah, and to be fair, Maddie looks 70, does she?
Yeah. Listen, each to their own. Reactor, do what you do, my friend. Do what you do.
Yes. Go on.
No. Where were we? Yeah, I think you look like you said the levels where Okolie's fought at. Cruiserweight champion, Bridgerweight champion. Yeah, we don't really rate the Bridgerweight. Well, I personally don't, but you move up the level of competition he's fought up against. Both of them losing to Chris Bellum Smith. I think that's probably one of Lawrence's worst performances. Bellum Smith. You could also tell in that fight the weight was a massive issue.
To storm through most of your career and to be, was he dropped like 3-4 times and then deducted point be grabbing constantly? It was an awful fight.
Right, but who was it? The Isaac Chamberlain fight was awful. That was a horrible fight. Yeah,
because they had a lot of needle, didn't they?
Yeah. They did. Yeah, they didn't. Then even with Isaac, I feel a bit for him. In that sense, because from that fight, both of them were at that level where promotion-wise, they were getting promoted really well. And Isaac losing that fight, his promotional deals have been less than where he was. The hype about him, he was just about to get obviously a big fight. He just won. He just won against Lowell, didn't he? Is it Lowell? He won.
I think so.
and then he's supposed to fight Vidal Riley, which would have been a really good fight. Really good fight on a good stage as well. I think beating a Vidal, Vidal's very highly rated. I think it was both of them gained quite a lot from that fight, to be honest with you, because I don't think Vidal's fought anyone on that level.
Do you think Vidal's overrated?
It's hard to say Vidal's overrated just because of who promotes him. Because I believe if Vidal was promoted by anybody else, he would be overrated. I think you hear whispers and how good he really is and stuff like that, and the hype behind him. A lot of the hype comes from YouTube, Misfits and stuff like that, which what he was doing. So hype. I don't know. I don't feel like there's this big hype behind him. I don't know whether it's. I do understand where you're coming from, but I don't know whether it's because the promotional companies with just pushing because I believe he would be a hype if he was with anybody else, because they would push him more because of the platform he's come from before turning pro. His profile's big anyway, and I don't think boxers using that to their advantage enough. So I do understand where you're coming from. He probably his name is out there, but for me, he probably still should be pushed more than what he is just because of his profile.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day,
has that been rescheduled? That is.
Pardon?
Has that been rescheduled yet? I think Chamberlain pulled out.
I think Vidal's fighting somebody else on that card. I'm not sure. Right. I'm not actually sure about that one.
No, I don't think I'd after that. But yeah.
Moving down the card to David Adelaide and Jamie TKV. You predicted TKV would get stopped in his last fight. That was the opposite happened.
I'll say out here, I'm not a fan of TKV for his mannerisms anyway. I think I can't watch him, but his boxing style, I really don't rate him. I think as soon as you get a good level on him, like I think Adelaide is leaps and bounds above TKV. I really do think Adelaide is going to destroy him.
You see, with the I don't think Jamie actually performed great in that fight against Robert, to be honest with you. There was a lot of chances to capitalize on the left hook. I don't think he was throwing enough. He was falling in with his jab quite a lot. He'd throw a double jab and fall in. I actually like Jamie. Within me and Rico's interviewed him. His interviews come across arrogant, but he's actually a decent guy to talk to. But I will say, you're right. That Adelaide, I did ask him about the likes of Adelaide and stuff like that in the interview, and he said that's where he wants to be. That's the sort of fights he wants to be in. So he's getting what he's asking for. I do think you're right that Adelaide is levels above him, but it's good for British boxing. It's good that these guys like Jamie TKV, who we believe is maybe a couple of levels not below or a level below Adelaide, he's still jumping up there to take those fights. And you look at Adelaide wasn't supposed to really do that to Solomon Dakers. Let's be honest.
No, he wasn't at all. No, he wasn't.
So Adelaide coming off of a loss, I think he was coming off of a loss.
Wardley spanked him.
Yeah, he loses to Wardley, he comes back, fights a guy who most people thought Solomon Dakers is going to deal with him. He steps up, and this is what's good about the heavyweight division. That's why obviously called the heavyweight boom, is that the heavyweight division from top to bottom, where it's British level to world level, these guys are all fighting each other and willing to step up to fight each other.
I think as well, like you say, because we're being gifted that they are all fighting. Say Adelaide beats TKV. TKV could probably quite easily get a fight with Dakers. Do you know what I mean? And then them two coming off a loss start, and that is like again, we're gifted. This is happening. We're getting that luxury.
You've also got Fisher and Allen both in that mix in and around that level.
Absolutely.
Of the crop of the fighters, where you've got your Adelaides and whatnot. Them two are in there, like Jamie TKV, a Dave Allen fight. If Dave doesn't fight, I believe that those two are going to run it back. Allen versus Fisher too. I believe that's going to happen. It seems like with Dave going on Sky Sports and all this happening, it feels like Johnny's side has gone very quiet. It feels like.
I thought usually from there, I thought with it being such a bad decision, I mean, even Paddy Power paid out, didn't they?
Yeah.
What I thought they was going to do, and I thought it'd be clever of them, was get his dad, Big John, on the go. Like bosh, get it all cheered up and out there, get it out. It's a learning performance and this, that, and the other. But literally, it has just been silent on that side, which I think speaks volumes, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah, I think his dad sort of had an outburst with Gareth A. Davis for calling it the worst robbery or whatever it was. But for me at the time watching it, and I'll keep saying, I don't see how he won 4 rounds, let alone 6. Like,
no,
he would have needed to win. I don't see how 6 rounds could have been won by him in that fight. I think I gave him 3 rounds. I think the 4th round, I think a lot of people just gave it to him because there was like, oh well, Dave's done better, but has he done enough? And I was like, no, I felt like Dave won more every round from 4 rounds onwards. A lot of people are saying 5 rounds onwards, but I thought the 4th round was one of those rounds where you could certainly give it to Dave. I feel like Johnny got the rub of the green just because of how the previous 3 rounds went.
I like how Dave Allen's approached it as well.
It's a northern approach, isn't it? It is a northern approach.
Recall, but
it is a northern approach. You look at Maxi Hughes. Maxi Hughes, when he got done by George Cambosis, when they gave him that, Maxi was just like, you know what it is, I know I won. I feel like it's just a Yorkshire northern approach that it is what it is. You know what I mean? What'll be will be. We know what's happened. You know.
You were just throwing Yorkshire phrases out there, then, weren't you? Like horses for courses,
just
shut door, turn big light off, Yorkshire pudding for supper.
Just to irritate Rico in the background, because I know if Rico had hair, he'd be ripping it out right now.
I think I was surprised. Truthfully, I mean, you go for all weights again, but certainly with your bigger weights, it comes to the stage of when you're knocking everybody out, can they take a punch? When they actually come into a fight, that's like 50-50 or whatever. I thought Fisher could. I don't know why necessarily, because I don't think he had taken a punch, but he certainly had never backed down from anybody who was put in front of him. I mean, I thought I was originally worried about the Babic fight. I thought like, whoa, that's a bit of a naughty fight for early on in your career with how Allen can sit on you and press and stuff like that. And fucking hell, dealt with him like instantly, didn't he? So
Babic, to be fair, looks like he didn't want to be in there also. It was a strange performance from him. A very strange performance, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, Johnny went in there and I think Johnny threw about 3 jabs and that were it.
Changed the scene and everything.
Babic just... I don't know. It was a strange performance from Babic, a really strange one.
Very strange, but he's a strange character, really. I mean, he came out of nowhere. Eddie took him under. He started doing these demolition jobs to all this alter ego. The Savage.
It was literally like watching the WWE back in the day. It literally was. The guy came out of nowhere. He was just this. He was just this. All of a sudden came this like superstar, like British level superstar, where nobody could deal with him.
And it was like when they introduced Brock Lesnar and he was just smashing people all over and shouting on camera and stuff like that. And then, what a strange like run. Not that his career's over, but what a strange little like stint that war of like feeding people to Babbage on a Saturday night on a Matchroom show for him to smash up.
Yeah, I still love them shows though. Watching them shows was still fun. This is why I'm happy with like Frank are doing putting these cards on now. We're getting more 50-50, not 50-50, but also names on the cards, not fighting no hopers. Like
That's
all A-side cards. Like they're the word. Watching all A-side cards, it feels like it's pointless. It feels like a waste of time, and all you're looking at when you're watching those fights is for holes in the A-side's game. Basically, you're just looking for you're searching for problems because you're expecting them to go in there and deal with this person we've never heard of before.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That is it. That is literally it. Oh, and another thing to add on that, it's the debut of Delicious Ori, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is the debut of Delicious Ori. What do you expect from
him? Good. I've seen him in the amateurs a few times. I mean, again, the transition's massive. People don't seem to realise that. That's one of my favourites that I get off people is like, oh, but they were great in amateurs, and it really don't mean anything when you turn over. No, I think he's going to be really popular for those who haven't seen him. I think he's got a fan favourite style as well. So I think it'll be really exciting debut, and it'll be an exciting like period for him. I think he could be in some big fights. There's a load of good heavyweights that are about to come through as well. We've got two in Yorkshire. Just repeat that for Rico. We've got two heavyweights in Yorkshire. Arlo Stevens, one to mention, trained by Billy Wilson, brilliant boxer, and Adrian King, trained by Curtis Woodhouse. He's a big lump. Really is a big lump. Really talented fighter.
All right. Well, I'll have to check them out anyway. I think I've seen Curtis Woodhouse tweet about he tweet a few clips of his heavyweight training. We've got 8 minutes left. We'll just touch on obviously this weekend. We've got Jack Catterall versus Barboza. What are you expecting to see in this fight?
I think Catterall goes on quite comfortably, to be honest. I don't know how to sort of word it. I think it's going to be quite an underwhelming fight. Have I said that right? I don't think it's going to be anything.
No, you know what it is? I get that. Jack has that style where if you don't force him to do something, Jack won't do something and he'll win the rounds quite boring. Yeah. I think Haney has that sort of style as well, where he can outbox you, where the fight is just nothing's really happening, but someone's just getting jabbed and getting hit with a pot shot of a right hand, trying to cut the ring off but not doing it properly. If Barboza doesn't bring pressure, this fight, I do agree with you, could easily be a boring fight where Jack just sits back on his back foot, just edging back, turning Barboza, jabbing to the body, jabbing to the head, and it could be one of them fights where nothing really happens.
I don't think it's going to gel. That's the right word, isn't it? I can just see it not gelling at all. And like you say, Jack Catterall, for as talented as he is, and at times brilliant to watch, as in when he's boxed Taylor, like you've worded it perfectly. At the same time, when it's not going to gel, it can make for like a really lackluster performance, which I think we might get from both.
Yeah, it is. Jack's one of them. He won't go for the action. If you bring action to Jack, that's when you probably get the best of him. His timing's very good. He's got some pop behind his shots when he times them as well. So yeah, you need to bring some pressure to Jack in order to make a fight. I don't know whether Barboza can do that. I think he's sort of mid range where he probably wants to counter Jack, where you're not going to counter Jack. Jack won't allow you to counter him. He'll wait all night for you to throw first. I
really enjoy Cattrall. I enjoy his style. There is some massive fight. Maybe it's because as well it didn't excite me as much as a fight we could have had, if you know what I mean. But what is exciting is what can happen next, if you know what I mean. There's some great names out there. Division.
That's the thing. Jack just needs to get through this fight. I think try to put on a good performance. He still needs a good performance, because at the end of the day, these divisions with the names in them right now, you need a performance to keep your name up there, because you can easily get, especially that 140 division, that could easily get swallowed up and no one cares about it pretty soon, because the big names have left. You know what I mean? Once big names leaves divisions, you look at the welterweight division. Once Crawford was gone, who was in the welterweight division that anyone really cared about? Boots was there. People was trying to say Boots, but so this 140 division, Jack needs to put on a performance to keep his name there, so there is some excitement or intriguement in his fights. People can see how he can beat likes of a Hitchens and stuff like that.
You just touching on Crawford, then you'll be more up to date than me. What's happening with the Crawford Canelo?
It's signed. They're fighting in September. Yeah, that's signed.
Because was there changing the date or something? I'd seen something come up that
Turkey. I think Canelo was supposed to be fighting Jake Paul, so the fight wasn't going to happen. So now he's not fighting Jake Paul. He's fighting William Skull for undisputed. Gone to get his belt back, which I'm not even mad at, because if the Crawford fight is what we're all looking forward to, is the fight we all want, why not fight William Skull for a belt you gave up? Why go in there with anybody else so this fight doesn't happen? We've seen it with Wilder and AJ on the same card fighting. Well, AJ was fighting Francis Ngannou, which I always believe would have been done inside 3 rounds. And Wilder, everyone expected Wilder to come back and spark out Parker, and look what happened. There's no point in Canelo taking any risks right now. If what we are all looking forward to, and the reason why Crawford isn't fighting until that fight, the Canelo fight, for me, I'm happy. Go for undisputed. At least the Crawford and Canelo fight is for something. It's for undisputed.
Yeah. Yes,
it's less of, Crawford's just moving up to fight Canelo to be a champion. You're undisputed. You become a 4-time undisputed. 3-time undisputed. Is it 3-time? Yeah, 3 times. It's 5-weight champion, I think it'd be. Which is
Can Crawford make a dent in Canelo?
Listen, I will never ever bet against Terence Crawford. I'll promise you that. I will promise you that I'll never bet against that man. But you take away the name, you just put the 2 fighters' skill sets. I think make a dent in Canelo is strong. I think, can he navigate his way around Canelo and navigate his way to win? Yeah, his boxing skills, his IQ, for me, tells you he can. It's just the only thing you don't know is whether he can hold a shot from Canelo.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you read it on paper about the step up and that, and yes, it's Crawford, but still, that step up is phenomenal, really. And it's not as if you're just stepping up to box someone at the weight. You are stepping up to box
pound for pound.
Pound for pound. The biggest name in the
guy. They're saying you are pound for pound. You are about to fight a guy. You are in. People are saying that you and him are like this. You and him are like that. So, but how much you believe how good you are about to fight someone just as good.
Just as good, if not better, depending on.
So for me, that saying all of that, it's whether Crawford can hold a Canelo shot. If Crawford can take the power, or his defense is on point where most of the shots or the power's coming off his gloves, his arms, or whatnot. But we've seen what Canelo can do with just the arm shots with Callum Smith. You know what I mean? Just the arm shots. He did it with Bivol as well, although it didn't work because Bivol, like a Crawford, like a Canelo, is at that level for me, where you're looking at guys that, as how good you think you are, he's probably just as good.
Just not, if not there. That's
it. It didn't work with Bivol, but Bivol was a bigger man. Will it work with Crawford? That's the only thing I could say. Like I said, I won't ever bet against Crawford. I hope Crawford wins this fight. I'm 100% backing him. I hope he wins it, but it's whether he can hold the shot, because that's one thing you can't judge about. You can't really guess whether he can, because Canelo's got power. We know Canelo has power, so it's not something people can say, oh well, Crawford can take this. Crawford's never been hit in a ring, 8-ounce gloves against somebody that way. We don't know.
We will wait and see for that one. It's exciting. It's really exciting. That is a monster fight for boxing.
Yeah. Oh wow, we're already an hour in. We're done for this week, CJ. That hour flew by. But episode 6, heavyweight boom. Very good episode, I think. The heavyweight division, top to bottom, from British level to world level. For me, it's probably the best it's been since I've been watching boxing, where you're interested in British level, English level fights in the heavyweight division, going all the way to obviously Usyk, the undisputed champion. I think the heavyweight division, fighter for fighter, they're all active, and hopefully it may continue. If you want to close us out, CJ, with your final thoughts.
Exciting, mate. That's all it is. We've been talking about doing this heavyweight one for a little bit, haven't we? So finally getting it out there. And to be fair, we've only touched top of iceberg. You could go on all night about just British domestic heavyweights, never mind at world. But it's been a brilliant show. I think we've covered some good stuff. Thank you.
Oh yeah, tomorrow you've got an interview. Do you want to tell people?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to come on with Peter Humphreys of Chakra Hypnotherapy. Not only does he do chakra hypnotherapy, he also now involves it in boxing, because he's registered with the British Boxing Board of Control as a timekeeper. So I know he's done a lot of work with fighters, some world level fighters. So I thought it'd be really interesting to bring him on, certainly at a time where mental health's so key. I thought that'd be quite a good guest to get on and find some stuff out for everybody.
Brilliant. Right, thanks everyone for tuning in. CJ will be back tomorrow, and we'll be back next week, same time. No, not same time, not same day. Next Thursday we'll be back. We'll be back next Thursday, 9:30. Thanks for tuning in.
Night, guys. Thank you.